Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir Gopinath Bhavan Shri Vrindavan Dham. Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Pati Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Hari Naam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. So we'll be starting with Mangala Charna, page 1. And if you don't have it, Jiva Pavana Prabhu has already posted it. Thank you so much, Jiva Pavana Prabhu.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamanam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Arjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanditamshcha Om Adhyanathimiram Dhasya Jnanam Janashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayani Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirasam Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanincha Shri Krishna Pada Jagatai Hriddi Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasar Narayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaurapresthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshavayakti Namine Ativartyacharitraya Svashmitanam Chaparine Jivadute Sadarataya Shri Nama Premadayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shri Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshabhanari Devi Daitaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Jvala Premadhya Shri Rupananda Bhaktida Shri Dora Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Vinatarine Rupanandam Vinudhapa Siddhanta Bhantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagyamurtaye Vipralambhara Sambodhe Padam Bhujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchiranandanamine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanu Navarayate Gauravirbhava Bhuvestam Nirdeshta Sajanapriya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathayate Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaudatvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mandam Matergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Nityad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Sinhasanastho Shri Shri Radha Shri Govinda Deva Krishnaya Sevyamanussmarami Shrimandra Sarasarambhi Vamshivata Tatastitaha Harsham Venu Svanargopi Gopinath Vashniyestunaha Vrindaye Tulasi Devyai Priyaye Keshavasya cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatre Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupasvarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vikaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Purivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritashvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Nama हरेर्नामेव केवलं खलु नास्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Dandavad Pranama Vaishnavas. We're going to make this announcement a few times today. Tomorrow, we will not be starting from here. We will be in the forest of Kamyavan. So, you're all welcome to join with us there. We will be starting 2 hours earlier. So at 3 o'clock p.m. Vrindavan time, sharp.
We have quite a few places we want to try to go to. And we also want to be able to sit down and do Mahamantra and try to go a little deep in these places. So we're going to try to go and visit as many places as we can and then Kirtan. So now, Gurudev Kabimoj say Dina Habe? No, not that one.
Guru Kripa Kori.
Guru Kripa Kori. Here it opens. The secret place, yeah!
It's actually a very secret place. Kamyavan means the place where all one's transcendental desires are fulfilled from Kam.
We should chant our Gayatris there.
We can be very quiet during that time. Gurudev Guru Kripa Kori, page 33. If you do not have a songbook, Jiva Pavana Prabhu very kindly and mercifully post the bhajans in the comment section of the thread. So just scroll to the most recent post of Jiva Pavana, and there you will find the bhajan along with translations, usually followed by beautiful commentaries of our acharyas. And Lavangalata, you can always depend on her for posting the page number.
I've had to look there quite a few times.
Yes. What page is it?
33.
Yeah. The other app was better for us for this.
Anyway,
okay?
we'll deal with it.
I forgot I'm playing the Radanga. Gurudev Guru Kripa Kori Goravano Majhe Guru Meri Acho Yogyatayar Pire ekante bhajibo hari.
Chitta stira have sakala sahibo, ekante bhajibo hari.
Gurudeva baro kripa kori, gora mono majhe প্রথমে দিয়াছো স্থান। শৈশব যৌবনে জর সুখ সঙ্গে অভ্যাস হইল মন্দ। নিজ কর্ম দোষে এ দেহ হইল জনের প্রতিবন্ধ। গুরুদেব বড় কৃপা করি, গোরা মন মাঝে প্রথমে দিয়াছো স্থান। বার্ধক্যে এখন অঞ্চলে হত কেমনে ভজিব বলো। কাঁদিয়া কাঁদিয়া তোমার চরণে হইয়াছি সুবিহল। গুরুদেব বড় কৃপা করি, গৌরা মন মাঝে প্রথমে দিয়াছো স্থান। গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব। জয় প্রভু পাদ জয় প্রভু পাদ জয় প্রভু পাদ জয় প্রভু পাদ। Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki
Jay. So I think there was a question. See, it's hard for me to
You can use your computer.
Can you speak a little about Godrum? I don't know anything about it. Seems like a very important place from reading the first verse of this song. So Janardhan Prabhu is asking a little bit about Godrum Dweep. want to answer it later.
Oh, I was just thinking about continuing, but within Sri Navadvip Dham, there are many islands, and each island is considered to be like the petal of a lotus flower. Within the very center, the whorl of that lotus is Sri Yogapith. That is the place where Mahaprabhu, or Nimai, took his birth. And that Yogapith, actually yoga means to link or connect. So really this is Radha and Krishna's coming together in that one form. As is explained in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Hladi Shakti Rasmad Ekatmanavapi Bhuvi Puri Deha Vedam Gatoto Chaitanyakyam Pakatam Adhuna Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam Radha Bhava Dyuti Sivalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. So Radha and Krishna are eternally separated for the purpose of experiencing ras, although they are one Atma. So one Atma in two forms, so that Pranay means love and affection, can be experienced. We mentioned this yesterday. But again, these two have come together in one form. So it's almost like two opposites, but inside one container. So that explains the amazing transformations of ecstasy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is experiencing. And this is in Sri Navadvip Dham. Godrum is one of those islands, Godrum Dvip. We say that also here, Godrume Diacho Sthana, may I reside there. This is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he's also residing. And Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajan. There's so many transcendental pastimes of the Lord have taken place there. But specifically for Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because in all of these islands they represent different aspects of Vrindavan. Navadvip is known as Gupta Vrindavan, or secret Vrindavan. So when we go on Navadvip Parikrama, they'll bring us and say, this is Radha Kund. And then they will tell all of the glories of Radha Kund. Then they will take us to Koladvip. Oh, this is Govardhan. And they will tell the glories of Govardhan. What is happening there in Godrumdi? Within the center, Svananda Sukada Kunj. This is where Bhaktivinoda Thakur resides. So this Gupta place is the place of his eternal service as Kamala Manjari, serving Radha and Krishna within the intimate pastimes of Vrindavan, specifically at Govardhan, specifically at Radha Kund. So there's so much speciality of Godrum Dvip, and we will go into that in much more detail when we start to go through Gaur Leela. So maybe coming closer to Navadvip, hopefully we'll finish with Damodarasṭakam. We can never really finish, but then we can start going more into Gaur Leela, leading up to Gaur Purnima.
There's always a festival.
When we were small, we're still small, but very little, growing up in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness on Watsika Avenue in Los Angeles, California, that street was like a bubble. A bubble which, in essence, separated us from the material energy just outside of that street.
Venice Boulevard.
Venice Boulevard was the cutoff point, and it was just at the end of the street, and the other side was Hughes Avenue. But that street, hundreds of devotees, all wearing tilak, all wearing devotional clothing, all chanting Hare Krishna.
Adults, 400 kids.
Yeah, 300 adults, 400 kids, lots and lots of devotees. And every day was a festival. From the early morning,
was a festival.
Yes, when the doors open at Mangalarti time, it was a festival. And then, greeting of the deities.
That was really a festival.
Yeah, this is quite a strong impression in our hearts when you're all waiting there and then you hear, dun,
just, they know, go.
I don't want to sing out of tune. Dun, 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 dun. They open the doors and all this
smoke.
What smoke?
Incense.
What incense? Frankincense.
Frankincense, yeah.
Billows out, and you can't see the deities yet because it's so smoky, and then gradually you can see them and how beautifully they've been decorated. Everything was a festival from the beginning of the day right until we fell asleep.
Actually, there's something kind of funny. I was working in Los Angeles, And I saw this big thing of flowers in my workplace, and I go, oh, look, it's a celebration. And people next to me were like, no, that means someone died. And I didn't understand it because we use flowers as a celebration. And it was so funny. Everyone else thought, oh, someone died. And I was thinking, oh, it's a celebration. Something's happening where there's life. So beautiful.
Yeah, we always saw flowers as a celebration. We never thought of them in terms of death. But in the material world out there, where outside of our bubble, our bubble, it was all like Vaishnavas and Prasadam and everything. And then when we went to the supermarket, our parents would cover our eyes and tell us, don't look that way.
Don't look at the televisions in the shops. They'll hypnotize you.
Or there's the meat aisle. They would take us down the other aisles and chant and avoid that. So, but still, especially when Janmashtami came, Ratha Yatra, they would close off the streets. All devotees would come from everywhere.
I think that's why we find bhakti so exciting. It's just always a celebration. It's always extraordinary.
Even just sitting here in our living room.
It's exciting.
It's a festival. And then we're going to take you out to Kamyavan tomorrow, and that festival will continue.
Vaishnava?
Sakala Vaishnava Goshai, Doya Kurumore, page 46. Oops, not going down any further. Sakala Vaishnava Goshai Doya Koro More Ante Krino Dhori Kohe Edino Pamare
Sakala Vaishnava Goshai Daya Koro More Dante Trina
Vaishnavas ki
Jai.
jai.
Interesting. Devaki said, whenever I hear those opening bars of Govindam, I hear the sound of, because it had a wooden floor underneath, the rumble of devotees' heads hitting the floor in obeisance. That's sweet.
Govinda, Hari Krishna, Govinda, Hari Krishna. Jai.
On my page, I have one devotee. Her name is Chaitanya Chintamani. And she's singing that in that tune. It's so sweet. Her voice is just
Where in the
on my thread.
what temple was it in? Oh,
In London, not Soho, London Ishwar. Is it London?
Soho, yes.
Soho Temple. She's so beautiful. Wow.
in Los Angeles temple they had a marble floor, so we didn't quite hear the same noise.
Heads cracking.
Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, same or Sampada, same or Bhajana Pujan, page 50, 50. Okay.
Say it in Lithuanian. Never mind.
I don't know how to say it in Lithuanian.
Okay.
Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, se mora sampada.
Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, Sei Mora Sampada.
Se mora bhajana pujana.
Sei Mora Bhajana
Se moro prano dhano, se moro abharana.
Sei Mora Pranadana, Sei Mora Yabharana.
Se mor jivanir jivana. Se mor jivanir jivana. Se moro rasanidhi, se moro vancha siddhi. Se moro vedera dharma.
Sei Mora
We haven't done this one in a long time. Jai Jai Nityananda Rohini Kumar, page 64, by Sri Vrindavan Thakur. Very beautiful bhajan.
Just give them a minute together. And it starts with Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumar.
Should we go to Minimaj too?
Can you turn that down for a second?
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Sakhe Kalaya Gormudaram. That's in the Sanskrit section. Sakhe Kalaya Gormudaram. Page 340. 340. Sake Kalaya Gormudaram. Sakhe Kalaya Goramudaram.
Sakhe Kalaya Goramudaram.
Sakhe Sachinandana Gaur Hari Ki
Jai.
Vande Girivardhara Padak Kamalam. Page 346.
Is it very, very fancy?
Vande Girivardhara Padak Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate.
Page 341.
341. Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Dayate.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate.
Radhe Jayo Radharani ki
Jai.
Now we will sing Shri Damodarasṭakam, followed by Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Page number 290 in our songbook. If you do not have the songbook, you do have Jiva Pavana Prabhu. So just scroll to his most recent post, and there you will find the bhajan, the ashtakam. Before we begin, Shri Shri Yashoda Damodarasṭakam ki jai, Radharaman ki jai. Radha Viravihari ki jai, Sachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Shalagram Shila ki jai, Lakshmi Gopal ki jai, and really little one ki jai. Something interesting. We have Radharaman here. Many people, because he's little, they look at him as Radharaman Lal, like a little baby. And maybe according to Vatsalya Bhav, means parental affection, mood, that may be okay. But Radharaman specifically is the Thakur of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Gopal Bhatta Goswami is in Radha Krishna Lila Guna Manjari. Guna Manjari is one of the maidservants of Srimati Radhika, serving Radha Krishna Jugal, conjugal rasa, this topmost Madhurya Lila. So Radharaman is the combined form of Srimati Radhika, and who is giving pleasure to Srimati Radhika? Raman. So he's a very special form, but he is not necessarily the baby that many people see him or think of him as because he's small. Like our Thakurs are also small, but it's quite obvious. Radhika is next to him. So they worship next to Radharaman, they have something representing Srimati Radhika. But all of those who know, including those who worship Radharaman, they know that actually Radhika and Raman are together in one form. Kind of like the little dark version of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Also, he embodies the three main.
When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada came to Vrindavan, because his preaching was so intense, it always has been, I was going to say at that time, but it always was, and it is, and it will be. So many did not want to receive him, so all temples closed their doors, including Radharaman, but there was someone there who argued on his behalf, and because of that, they were the only temple to open their doors for him and his devotees. So when he went in front of Radharaman, he spoke that I see standing before me the embodiment of our Teen Thakur. Teen Thakur means the three Thakurjis of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Madan Mohan, representing relationship, Sambandha Gyan. Govinda Dev, representing Abhideya, the practice of that relationship. One is the beginning of that, and then Gopinath. This is Prayojan Tattva, the perfection of that relationship. He said, I see within Radharaman Teen Thakur, all three of our Gaudiya Thakurs. So he's very dear to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. All, of course, are dear to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, but he is one of the only original remaining Thakurjis in Vrindavan. From the time when the Muslims would come through and pretty much desecrate and destroy everything, the temples, deities, and everything. So they had to remove most of them, and they went to Jaipur, Rajasthan.
Rupa Goswami's Yogamaya state.
Rupa Goswami's personal Yogamaya remained hidden in a cave near Govindaji, well, just behind Govindaji temple.
And also Vrinda Devi.
Vrinda Devi in Kamyavan. She is also one of the originals, and then that is one of the places where the Thakurji who were traveling out of Vrindavan during that time of terror went to rest before going on to Rajasthan, where they went in so many different locations. Madan Mohan went to Karoli, Govindaji went to Jaipur. He's still the center of that city, They have beautiful, beautiful artis there. Gopinath is there. I'm trying to remember. Radha Vinod, Vinodi Lal, they call him. So beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
And so many other Thakurjis are there in Rajasthan.
We may have to go one day.
Yes, if we can somehow arrange that, we would love to go. Namami Shwaram Sachidanandarupam Srihari Shamanam Yame Jakshitesh Namami Sharam Sachidananda Rupam Lasatundaram Gopure Rajaman Pure Atmajo Braham Utarayatma Vayamo Chitta Bhakti Bhaja Vitosha Aprema Bhakti Sakame Prayacha Namo Kshetra Kome Damodarasṭakam Namami Sharam Sachidananda Rupam Lasatundaram Gopure Rajaman Namaste Sudhamne Suradipidhamne Tadiyodarayatvam Vishvasya dhamne Namo Radhikaye Tadiyapriyaye Namo Shri Radha Damodarasṭakam ki jai, Shri Damodarasṭakam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Mahamantra ki.
Let's do this over my head. Uh-oh. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Our Srila Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, he asked, why do we do these bhajans? Why do we sing through all of these bhajans every day? So many times every day, morning, noon, and evening. And he said, because we really don't know what to pray or how to pray. Usually when we pray, we are praying for God bless Karma Mishra Bhakti or Jnana Mishra Bhakti. It's mixed. One is freedom from suffering. The other is desire for attaining something in this material world. Give me health, give me wealth, give me a nice new car, give me a new iPhone, give me this, give me that, give me a beautiful wife or husband or children or anything of this material world. We're asking for something.
Or even spiritual desires that are actually sort of material desires.
I mean, covered material desires
Yes.
in the guise of spirituality.
Yes.
Like?
Well, like praying to be a queen in Dwarka, not knowing what
Ooh.
to pray for.
Right. Not knowing what to pray for. So that's like a covered one. I desire to enjoy Krishna as his queen. So that's also a different kind of desire. It looks like spirituality, but it might be material. It means I want to enjoy Krishna, or I want Krishna to give me a palace and 10 sons and a daughter and so many thousands of maidservants and beautiful jewelry and all of these things. And I want him to love me and adore me. So this can be a kind of material desire as well. Although we know that in Bhagavatam, it said, Kama sarva kamo va. Whatever desire one has, anyhow, one should approach Krishna And hopefully, if one comes in contact with any pure devotee, then those desires can be purified. But our Vaishnavacharyas, through their bhajans, are teaching us how to pray without any other motivation in the mode of pure bhakti. So instead of just praying our own prayer, we take shelter of those persons who have prayed and who are praying in pure love and devotion. And by that, our prayers can become purified. For example, once upon a time, there was one young girl. She came up to Srila Gurudev as he was on his way to the Pandal in New Braj. And in front of all the devotees, she asked him, she wasn't that young, probably about 12, 13 at the time, Srila Gurudev, how long is Srimati Radhika's braid? Gurudev looked at her and said, that is not a question. Because it is beyond the qualification or the adhikar of that person. That kind of question is not really a question which is necessarily, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, relevant inquiry, relevant to my progress. So Srila Gurudev said, you should sit in our classes and hear how the senior Vaishnavas discuss with Sri Guru, with Gurudev, those kinds of things. Then after some time, you will be able to ask proper questions. So in the same way, we're like children. We don't know what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's not good. We need guidance. And through these bhajans, singing them every day, calling out in their words, it may be that it might touch the ears of Krishna, the heart of Krishna. Oh, I recognize my dear devotees' words. And this one is taking shelter of them and calling out in their words to me. And by that, mercy may come. It also may be that if we are with any pure Vaishnava and they are singing that our calling out may mix with theirs. And if their prayer touches the ears and heart of Krishna, then something of ours may also connect. And if Krishna decides to rain his mercy at that point, and we are close to a Vaishnava as he's raining his mercy, we may also be touched by that rain of mercy. So it's essential to take shelter of the Vaishnavas and their moods, and by that, Krishna's heart will be attracted. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Yes, art.
Wow. Artis downstairs are getting louder and louder every day. Is the internet working? Normal internet?
It must be, because... But you should probably go on yours.
I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm on Sudevi's now. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Nityanamine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtotar Shri Srimad Shri Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And saying thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtotar Shri Srimad Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada. And to all of our Rupanuga, Gauriya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe Sham, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Yes, Baron S., this is live. Hare Krishna. So I noticed Jiva Pavana Prabhu posted something from Jaiva Dharma, and we were speaking about Jaiva Dharma the other day, yesterday. And Jaiva Dharma keeps coming up because really everything is contained within Jaiva Dharma. What Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said about Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that if all of the scriptures and all of the books and everything were to be lost in the universal flood, he would clutch Chaitanya Charitamrita to his heart and swim with that until he could find anywhere to place his feet. And if just that was saved, nothing would be lost. And our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj said the same thing about Jaiva Dharma. And he also said something similar about our Param Gurudev's biography, Acharya Kishori, the life and precepts of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. So we can understand how valuable, how much of a treasure is present within these transcendental scriptures, that even if everything else were to be lost, if just that remained, nothing would be lost. How amazing is that? So if anyone is interested, there's one devotee, Jnana Shakti Prabhu. He's systematically going through Jaiva Dharma, and he's gone through it many times, and to this day, he's every day live presenting Jaiva Dharma. Once a week? Mm-hmm. Once a week only? How come I see him every day? Sudevi is somehow maybe making it up, watching him regularly. So you will find his name on Facebook as J.S. Das. But J.S. means Jnana Shakti. So if you're interested to see the Jaiva Dharma classes that he's doing, you will gain so much benefit there. And many Vaishnavas are doing so many amazing programs. They're sharing so much. So it's a very special time where maybe people aren't able to go out into the public as much in person, but they're able to connect much more through the medium of modern media. So I can guarantee you our Guru Varga would maximize this and would encourage all of you who are watching to also maximize the sharing of the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of Krishna and of our Guru Varga as much as possible. Flood that space which is now full of Kali Yuga, flood it with Srimad Bhagavatam, flood it with Krishna, flood it with Guru and Vaishnavas, flood it with Harikatha, and the world can be affected in an amazing way. So, before continuing with Sri Damodarasṭakam, first we would like to acknowledge those personalities who have contributed to this beautiful literature. Not literature, it is a beautiful treasure, not different from the heart of Sri Satyavrata Muni, who saw in his transcendental vision, and it was a progressive evolution of consciousness. Our Srila Gurudev explained that over a period of millions of years, as his transcendental emotions were deepening and his realizations were deepening, he was revealing these verses. So Sri Satyavrata Muni revealed Sri Damodarasṭakam. It was written down or placed in Padma Purana by Sri Veda Vyas himself, commented on by Sri Sanatana Goswami. Of course, so many of our acharyas have commented on it, but in this particular book, there is the commentary of Sri Sanatana Goswami, then the commentary, the translation of Sanatana Goswami's commentary mixed with the Bhav Anuvad, means the explanation, the commentary full of Bhav of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, our Param Gurudev, our Gurudev's Guru, then followed by the commentary of our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, who is commenting on his Gurudev's commentary. So it is just more and more and more condensed, sweet and beautiful nectar. Oops, sorry. So before entering into this beautiful treasure and examining and studying its contents, we will first pray to all of these personalities. In the words of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Vairag Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnair Apayana Mam Anubhikshamandam Kripambudir Yapadadukuduki Sanatanastam Prabhum Ashrayami, begging in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods, which are present within these pages, manifest itself within our hearts. We're still continuing with verse 2 of Sri Damodarasṭakam, the commentary of our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So verse 2 is Rudantam Muhur Netra Yugmam Rijantam Karambhoja Yugmeno Shatanka Netram Muhu Shwasakam Patrirekam Kakantha Stita Graivam Damo Daram Bhakti Badham Namamishwaram Sachidananda Rupam La Satkundalam Gokule Brajamanam. So yesterday we were discussing how Krishna is known according to those who are viewing him. This is natural. Everyone sees. They say in English, there's a saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So each person, according to their relationship with God or with the Supreme Lord, sees him accordingly. So there are so many great sages and jnanis. How do they see him? They see him as the supreme absolute truth. They see him as that person who has no beginning, who has no end, who is the absolute. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam, who has unlimited forms, Adyam, who is the original, Puraram, who is the eldest, Purusha, who is the controller, and at the same time is ever fresh and youthful. I'm already getting excited. Sudevi is telling me to slow down. So they see him from all of these perspectives, this absolute Godhead perspective. And according to the depth of relationship, that idea or aspect of Godhead becomes less and less and less prominent. Think about it like a king or we don't even have that much anymore, a prime minister or a president in this world. To so many, they have so much power. And most people will be very respectful and careful. But in their own circle, they have friends. And with their friends, they might laugh and joke and even tell cutting jokes toward one another, push each other like they used to do when they were children. And their own wife might be angry at them and not speak to them for days, and they will try to pacify her. Their children aren't thinking, yes, Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister. Their children are thinking, Dad. And he's not thinking, my subject, maybe he is, but he's thinking, these are my darling children. So according to the depth of relationship, one sees another. And it's different. I'm the same person, you could say. But my brother has a different relationship with me than my sister does, than my father, than my mother, than my wife, than any other family member, than any friend or anyone else. It's just natural. And this is a perverted reflection of that transcendental realm and all transcendental relationships. So everyone sees the Supreme Lord according to the way their relationship is with him, and he reciprocates accordingly. So as one approaches me, he says in Bhagavad Gita, I reciprocate accordingly. Therefore, those who approach him with the most love and the most affection and the most, you can call it surrender, but that surrender is complete submittance in love and affection, then he will reciprocate accordingly. Therefore, the most beautiful, most amazing, most charming and attractive, most astounding form or feature of Krishna can only, or of God, can only be found in reciprocation with the embodiment of the highest transcendental love and affection. Mahabhav Surupini Sri Radha Thakurani. Then you will find that most beautiful, charming, and attractive form of Krishna that no other person will be able to conceive or see without her mercy. So we see here that so many are seeing, oh, he is the supreme absolute truth, and they're watching with amazement as the supreme absolute truth is performing pastimes in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, his father, just like an ordinary child of this world. And Mother Yashoda doesn't see him as God. She sees him as her heart and her soul, her dearmost, darling son. So dependent on how one sees him, they reciprocate accordingly. And interestingly, because they love him so much that even his Aishvaryata, means his godhood, is completely covered. How much so? Like a particle of dust in the ocean of rasa. Completely covered. It does not mean that his Aishvarya or his opulence, grandeur, and supreme majesty is not present. It's fully present, but that madhuryata, the sweetness of Braja rasa, of Vrindavan's loving relationships with Krishna, is such that it completely covers that Aishvarya Shakti, that awesomeness, that majesty of God. And so much so that Krishna himself becomes completely subjugated by that love. And he dances various novel dances according to their desire. That means he is controlled by love and affection, pure love and affection. How and why? Because it is his nature. So the elderly gopis, they will tell Krishna, I will give you laddu if you sing and dance. Dance for us and sing a beautiful song. And little Krishna will be dancing and singing for laddus. They're controlling him by their love and affection. They don't even have to say anything to him. They just make butter with their hearts saturated with love and affection, which is manifesting that love, that pure love and affection for Krishna is manifesting in the form of butter, and he cannot control himself. It is important for him to play with his friends, and to steal that butter. That is what is important to him. Why? Because their hearts have been placed in that form. He cannot help himself but to go into each of those homes and take the essence of their love in the form of this butter. The gopis also, by their moods of love and affection for Krishna, completely control him. Srila Prabhupada writes, my late father, Mittiladish Prabhu, he would always quote this. He just loved it. And he would share it with me. Srila Prabhupada had written or spoken that it appears in Vrindavan that Krishna is simply a plaything in the hands of the gopis. He's so controlled by their love and affection that he puts down his flute, puts down his mukut. He runs after them, begging, Smaragarakandanam mamashirashimandanam dehi parapalavamudaram. Please be merciful to me. Please accept me. Please don't reject me. Please give me the dust of your lotus feet. That's how much their love controls him, that he is begging, running after them, begging for prem. There's a beautiful book by Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj entitled The Beggar of Prem. Very highly recommended. I wouldn't call it reading. It is meditation. Very beautiful, very amazing. So, from that point, Gurudev here is saying, in fact, Krishna is nectar himself. Raso Vaisaha. I have to make sure I'm finding the place. Oh, I read to the end of this page. So Krishna will only become bound by someone who cultivates the highest love and devotion for him, which is completely devoid of any other desire other than for Krishna's happiness, pleasure, and benefit, other than what is favorable for him. That is Uttama Bhakti, or the highest devotion. He can only be conquered by that. He can only be bound or controlled by that kind of love. Therefore, Bhagavan's power of compassion and mercy, Bhagavan's power, Kripa Shakti, his power of compassion and mercy, which is the topmost among all of his potencies, only becomes manifest by the performance of such Uttama Bhakti. Now, the word performance is interesting. It's not like a performance like a contrivance that, okay, I'm going to do a performance. It means that these are manifesting from the heart spontaneously out of great eagerness, desire, and necessity to please Krishna for his benefit. So you can call it performance. It might even look like it, but if it is out of that, from that purpose, for his happiness, pleasure, for his benefit, and what is favorable for him, then this is the only way by which he can be captured. In its presence, in the presence of Krishna's mercy potency, which is his topmost, most prominent potency, his Aishwarya Shakti, his potency of supreme majesty, becomes powerless. It appears to become powerless. As we just said before, it is so covered, completely drowned by that ocean of prema ras, that nectar of divine love and affection, that power appears insignificant in comparison to that ocean of transcendental rasa. Therefore, his kripa shakti, or his karuna potency, his mercy, compassion potency, completely drowns that Aishwarya Shakti, making it appear completely powerless. When Krishna manifests his mercy potency, he is controlled of his own accord. So really it is by his potency known as his internal potency, Yogamaya, by which all of this is taking place. It's already set up that way eternally. Why is it that way? Why does God do what he does? Why has he set things up the way he has set them up? Why is it that way? We cannot say. All we know is it is far superior than anything we can ever conceive of. Otherwise, it would not be that way. Everything that is ever manifested from that Supreme Lord and his energies is exclusively, ultimately, for his purpose. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj would utilize the words of Hegel, one German philosopher, to define God. By definition, God is of himself and for himself. That means everything which is manifested from him is really for his purpose. We must understand this. We must accept this if we want to be able to surrender to him. That means I'm yours. And whatever you want to do with me, however you want to place me, that is according to your own sweet will. And my purpose, my function, my existence is solely for you. Everything he does, ultimately, even the presence of the jivas, the presence of the entire material creation, the presence of the spiritual world, everything is for his purpose. That is the definition of God, the one that Srila Sridhar Maharaj would use quite frequently. And this is something that ultimately we will have to be able to recognize, that he is the supreme enjoyer and my function is to serve that enjoyment. That is my eternal function. But how? In love and affection. Not out of slavery in essence, but really coming into my nature. Just as the nature of water is to flow toward its source, which is the ocean. No matter what you do with it, you can turn it into steam, you can turn it into ice, you can put it in a bowl on the tip top of Mount Everest. Still, the nature of that water is to eventually make its way to its source, which is the ocean. In the same way, the nature of every soul is to love and serve the Supreme Lord in one way or another. Jivera Surupahoy Krishner Nitya Das. All jivas, in their intrinsic nature, are eternal servants of Krishna. And there is also a particular kind of seva which is present within every soul. And that is awakened in the association of his, Krishna's, pure devotees. So when Krishna manifests his mercy potency, he is controlled of his own accord. This mercy potency is so powerful that it completely covers his Aishwarya Shakti.
Is this the same mercy potency as Sri Guru?
The question just came, is this the same mercy potency as Sri Guru? If Sri Guru is the embodiment, the condensed form of the mercy and compassion of Krishna, yes. The answer is yes. Therefore, our Srila Gurudev has said that Guru, Tattva, is the essence of all of our scriptures. In essence, Guru is even heavier than Krishna. How can we understand this? If you were to take oxygen and compress it, and compress it, and compress it, condense it, and put it into a container, it would be liquid, and it would be extremely potent and powerful, and very heavy as well. That oxygen that we're breathing, if you have pure oxygen and you condense it and you make it liquid and you put it into a rocket booster, that will power the rocket to go into outer space. How powerful is that? Sri Guru is the condensed form of Krishna's mercy and compassion. That condensed form. Samsara davan aladidha loka taranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam Raptasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande guru Shri Charanarvindam. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Sri Damodarasṭakam has stated that Krishna's mercy takes a form. That form is like a cloud coming from Krishna's ocean of mercy, going over any forest fire and extinguishing that blazing forest fire. He's taken that form as Sri Guru. Krishna Kripa Shri Murti. Krishna Kripa means the mercy of Krishna. Sri Murti means the form of Krishna's mercy, who is endowed with Shri. What is that? Carrying the moods of loving service to Krishna and awakening all jivas. Jivas means souls, to their eternal relationship of loving service to Krishna. So Gurudev explained, Srila Gurudev explained that Guru, in this case, is even heavier than Krishna. And really that is also one of the definitions of Guru. Guru means heavy, substantial, very weighty. With what? Love for Krishna. So this, how can you say it is Guru is heavier than Krishna? Because Krishna becomes the property of the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, Radh Har Dasir Krishna Sarva Vede Bole. That all Vedas are telling, all scriptures are telling that Krishna becomes the property of the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. If Krishna has to put his head in the dust at their feet, begging for their mercy that he can have darshan of Srimati Radhika, how powerful must they be? And those same personalities in our Rupa Anuga Gauriya Guru Varga, Rupa Sanatan, Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Make sure I got all of the 6 Goswamis. Sri Narottam Das Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, our Gurudev, all of our Rupanuga Guru Varga. Who are they? What are they carrying? What moods of service are they carrying to Radha and Krishna? Nikunjayuno ratikedi siddhyai yayali bhiryuktirapekshaniya tatrati dakshyad atiballabhasya vande guru shri charanarvindam. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is telling that they are serving Krishna and Srimati Radhika like this, under the guidance of following the same upasana of in sadhak form in this world and also within their eternal siddha form, the same worship of Radha and Krishna that Sri Rupa, we sang that bhajan today, Sri Rupa Manjari Pada Semor Sampada. What Sri Rupa, how she is serving Radha and Krishna, they are also serving under her guidance. That is known as Rupanuga. So how powerful, how substantial, how heavy, how saturated with this bhakti ras are our Guru Varga, that Srila Gurudev said that Sri Guru, in this case, is even heavier than Krishna himself. Let's just see here. Keshav Priya Didi. So Guru being heavy due to love of Krishna, not heavy on a disciple. We should understand what heavy is. Maya is heavy on the conditioned souls of this world. Maya is heavy on us. I remember reading from Srila Prabhupada, and in our Shastras, it is said that we are here like prisoners, suffering, being hammered on the anvils of this material energy. So if anyone knows about blacksmithing, you put that iron in fire until it becomes red hot, then you put it on the anvil, take a sledgehammer and smash it again and again and again and again and again. This is what the material energy is doing to us. And Guru comes and tries to remove us from that situation. But because we're so accustomed to it, we feel that what Guru is doing to us is heavy, when actually it is the form of intense, immense, extreme mercy and compassion.
Kishori, what does Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj say? Do you remember that? He says that, you are willing to be beaten by Maya again and again, but I say one harsh word and you run from me.
I don't know if you heard that. So Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj had told one person who came to see him that you're willing to accept being beaten by Maya again and again and again, but I tell you one little thing that pinches you slightly and you want to leave me forever. Our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj said something similar. I think it was 1998 in Shri Keshavji Gauriya Mathura. He said, I have to be so careful with all of you. He was talking about from the West. He said, I know that even if I beat my brahmacharis, means the ones who were growing up with him, he said, bitterly, they will never leave me. But if I say anything to you that even slightly pinches you, he said, oh, you will think, oh, I don't like Narayan Maharaj. And he said, you will leave me in bhakti forever. So I have to be so careful with you. Because we don't understand what it means to receive mercy. Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj is telling that because we are so dense, we require to be chastised. It's difficult for us to take it. The way we might be able to understand, and especially for parents, if you saw your child running into the highway and a car coming at them at full speed, what would you do? You would do anything to rescue them. First, you would scream and shout. Tears would start coming to your eyes. You'd be running after them. You might grab them and throw them out of harm's way and even take that unto yourself. In the process of trying to rescue them, they might feel a little bit of pain. Maybe they might sprain an ankle or a finger or something like that, or get a scratch. And if they don't realize that you just rescued them from the most terrible fate, they would look at you and weep. Why did you stop me from having fun? Why did you scream at me? Why did you hurt me? I don't like you. But what was that mother's intention? She was trying to stop her child from getting killed. And so when we understand in perspective why Sri Guru might appear to be heavy on us, it is actually out of the greatest, infinite compassion and mercy, watching us re-enter the cycle of repeated birth and death. Their hearts bleed upon seeing this kind of condition. Oh my God, no. Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj said, you cannot imagine the pain, the shock that Sri Guru feels when he sees his disciple go back into this cycle of samsara. Oh, he's coming so far, boom, re-entering. He said, you cannot imagine the shock and the pain that Sri Guru feels to see such a thing, because they are made of the essence of Krishna's compassion and his mercy. So they cannot help themselves but to feel desperately compassionate. And whatever they can do, there's one katha in the Upakyan Upadesh of Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And he's mentioning that there's a child on the roof flying a kite. In India, at certain times of the year, everyone flies kites, and usually from the roof of their homes. And as you can see, most roofs in India are flat. So as they're flying the kite, this child is backing up toward the edge. And man is walking down below, and he starts shouting, be careful, you're going to fall. And that child is like, hey, who are you to talk to me like that? And the parents of that child are like, hey, mind your own business. Don't disturb. Can't you see we're having fun? And so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, in the moral to this, explains that Guru is like this. He sees our imminent, dangerous position and condition and begins to, in essence, scream out for our benefit in, you can say, fear for what our potential fate would be. And not only do we reject it, but all of our supporters also reject it. So if we see from the proper perspective, then we might willingly accept that chastisement, punishment of Sri Guru for our own benefit. In a way that an intoxicated person or someone who's addicted to all sorts of drugs might place themselves voluntarily into rehab, that I cannot fix myself. I've tried, I've thought about it, but I don't have enough power on my own to undo my addiction. I need help from beyond myself. So Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj explained that a disciple is one disciple. Remember this word, disciple. A disciple is one who voluntarily places themselves in a position where severe discipline will be inflicted upon them by their spiritual master, by Guru. that discipline is for our benefit. So if we see it from these perspectives, then we can understand that, yes, it may be heavy. Guru is not only heavy in themselves, but also it is necessary for them to be heavy on us for our own benefit. They don't need to be here. They don't need to come here for them. Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj said this in Australia, in Murwillumbah, I don't remember which year, 1999, I think. He said, I don't need you for my sadhana and my bhajan to be successful. I was happily doing sadhan bhajan in Vrindavan. I have come here for you to help you. So he would say, be merciful to me. Please take my time. Please take my life seriously. I have come here for you to help you. If you can even capture, the next day he said, if you could capture even a smell, like incense from the other room, just a slight smell of what I'm trying to give you, then your life will be successful. So when you put all of these into perspective, then we understand that the heaviness of Guru is not actually heavy. It is mercy. It is compassion. If we also contextualize that Sri Guru is more than millions of mothers of this world. So any mother who has affection for their children, or father, any parent who has any affection or care or concern for their children, take that, what you have, that love, that affection, and somehow try to imagine multiplying that by 1,000,000 times. Then you might have an idea of the mercy and compassion and the care and the concern that Sri Guru has for each individual jiva of this world. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, every selfless welfare worker of Gaudiya Math should be willing and ready to expend a minimum of 200 gallons of their own blood. That means so much energy for the spiritual benefit and upliftment of each individual jiva of this world. How merciful and compassionate is that? Even we don't want it. Srila Gurudev said that. Srila Prabhupada told me, he ordered me to help. Even if they don't want, even if they tell me not to, who should I listen to? He ordered me to help. So even if they don't want it, still I must try. I think he spoke this in 96, 97. And it was quite amazing to see that. Even if they're rejecting me, still I have to try because I've been ordered by my spiritual superior to help them. So what could he do? This is their nature. This is their mercy. So now we will continue speaking about the mercy of Krishna. We should understand that if that is his supreme Shakti, and that Shakti is condensing and taking a form and coming in this world, then we can understand how powerful and how essential Sri Guru is in our lives. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. The only way to develop pure love and affection, Keval Bhakti, pure devotional service to Krishna, is by taking shelter at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. And in the 64 limbs of Bhakti, the first 5 limbs mentioned by Srila Rupa Goswami and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu are about taking shelter of Sri Guru, the spiritual master, starting with Ado Guru Padashray. First of all, surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Guru. And just like Krishna chastised Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and after that, Arjuna completely surrendered. He says, Shishyasteham, I am now a soul completely surrendered to you. As you order me, I will do. In that way, we should come to Sri Guru, who is the embodiment of Krishna's mercy, who has no ulterior motive other than serving Krishna and engaging all others in serving Krishna. Then we can submit to them with full trust and accept what discipline they're giving us for our benefit. So in their previous lives, Devaki and Vasudeva performed extremely severe penances But even they could not bind Sri Krishna. There's a footnote. Although Sri Krishna awarded them their desired benediction by becoming their son, he performed all of his sweet childhood pastimes in Braj away from their vision. When he returned to them in his later pastimes, his identity as the Supreme Lord was revealed. In fact, how did he manifest to them in the jail cell of King Kamsa? Not as a baby, not initially. He manifested to them as four-armed Narayan, with a conch-shell disc club lotus flower, wearing a helmet, no peacock feather, because only in Vrindavan does Krishna wear a peacock feather. He had a Vaijanti mala, a garland, beautiful forest flower garland down past his knees. All kinds of jewelry, yellow clothing, armlets, amulets, everything. He was full grown, beautiful, like a 16-year-old youth, but Narayan. And Vasudeva and Devaki offered their prayers to him, to Bhagavan, in that jail cell. Then they requested, please take your form as a baby. And he said, when I do that, immediately bring me to Nanda and Yashoda Bhavan in Gokul and switch me with the daughter of Yashoda. This was the order of Bhagavan to Vasudeva Maharaj. So, for one moment, they had him as a little baby, but they already knew he was Bhagavan. And so they offered prayers to him. And we also must take notice of something here. They did intense austerities for a long time, and what did they pray for? We want you as our son. Bhagavan is very tricky. So he manifested as their son, but they didn't have Vatsalya Prem for him, parental love and affection. He said, okay, I'm your son, but I'm still Bhagavan. So they have the son who is God. So they're not able to manifest this same Vatsalya Prem. It is said that in Nanda and Yashoda's previous births, for the purpose of pastimes, we should understand that they have manifested previous births. There's some history mentioned there in Shastra that when they prayed to the Lord, they prayed, we want to have Vatsalya Prem for you. Vatsalya Prem means parental love and affection, divine parental love and affection. So, in order for them to have that, he had to manifest also as their son so they could express that parental love and affection. So it is so essential to be so careful how we pray because he's very tricky. And he might give you something which is not exactly what you thought. Right? How you ask what you ask is essential. So it is also therefore essential to always be in anugatya. Like when Srila Gurudev warned us. I will tell you the story and then I'll continue reading. So once upon a time, we were in Fiji, in the house of Kanti Punja Prabhu, one of the 5 Punja brothers. And Srila Gurudev was staying there in the room there. So Srila Gurudev came out of his room to take a phone call, and Sudevi and I were sitting quite a distance on the couch across the way, and we were just admiring Gurudev. Oh, Gurudev, you're taking the phone call. Our Guru speaks on the phone. And we just thought it was really sweet. He was talking to someone. And then, at the end of his phone call, he put his phone down, and he looked over at us. And he said, oh, you should also call me from time to time. He was looking at Sudevi. And she was like, okay. And then he said like this, and he put his fist to his ear. And he said, hello, my darling daughter. And she's looking like, what's going on? What's going on? And I told Sudevi, he's playing telephone. Pick up the phone. She's like, what? So she puts her hand to her ear like this. She said, hello, Gurudev. How are you? And he said, I am fine. And she's like, so what are you doing? Mind you, they're like 20 feet away. He said, I am talking to you. And then he slams his no phone down. And so she puts hers down. And he said, you should be very careful. So we got up and we went over and sat at his feet. And he looked at Sudevi and he said, Krishna will try to make you a queen in Dwarka. And she said, oh, Gurudev, I'm not afraid of Krishna. He said, no, why not? She said, because I know you will protect me from him. And Gurudev said, yes. If we are not under the guidance of such a spiritual master, Krishna will try to offer us thousands or millions of other things. Oh, take this wealth, take this palace, take this, take that, take these beautiful, take this beautiful bride or beautiful groom. Take any mystic power, mystic siddhi, heavenly wealth or anything. He will try to give so many things. But if we're very, very strictly under the guidance of holding on to the little finger of Sri Guru and not letting go, he can protect us even from the trickiness of Krishna. Why? Because he's more tricky than Krishna. Now, Gurudev said, the heart must be like a jalebi so that Krishna cannot navigate, cannot understand what's going on. So it is essential to be under the care, under the guidance of Sri Guru in such a way that Krishna cannot trick us. So Gurudev said, if Krishna ever stands in front of you and asks you anything, what would you like? You should only have one prayer. And every time he would take us to Shyamakund, he would tell us this. Only one prayer. What is that? Shyama Sundar Shikanda Shekara Smerahasa Murali Manohara Radhikara Sikamang Kripanidhe Swapriya Charana Kinkaring Kuru. O Krishna, O son of Nanda Maharaj, if you can give me anything, I only have this one desire. Please make me the Kinkari. Kinkari means what to do, what to do. Means the maidservant, the dasi of your dear most beloved Srimati Radhika. That should be our prayer. If Krishna ever stands in front of you and offers you anything, you ask him this. And if we do that, that means we're under guidance of Gurudev.
I think the internet just went off.
Here? I can't tell. Hare Krishna?
It looks okay here.
It's going good here.
Okay.
A beautiful architectural house.
Trying to keep an eye on it because
Okay.
mine isn't working.
Do you want me to set it up so you can connect to this? Okay. So, Devaki and Vasudeva were doing their intense austerities. They wanted him Bhagavan as their son, and they got Bhagavan as their son. Whereas Nanda and Yashoda were doing their intense austerities. They didn't ask for Bhagavan as their son, but they asked to have Vatsalya Prem for him. That would mean that they would have to forget that he's Bhagavan, and that they would just see him as their dearmost darling boy. So this is how Nanda and Yashoda had this Vatsalya Prem, whereas Vasudeva and Devaki did not have this Vatsalya Prem. Rather, they had darshan of Bhagavan, and they offered prayers to him. So it's very, very different. What then can be said of others? They performed extremely severe penances, Vasudeva and Devaki, but even they could not bind Krishna. What then can be said of others who try to bind him? He may willingly come under the control of a sadhaka when he sees them eagerly perform loving service to him with great persistence, but he cannot be attracted by austerities alone. He is only attracted by sincere love. Where so many persons do austerities. Austerities would mean fasting, doing so many intense things. But these intense things means maybe even starving our own tendency for enjoyment. This in itself is not sufficient. There's no Shastra which states intense austerities bring love and affection for Bhagavan. Those intense austerities may call him to grant you something, to offer something to you, but they don't give love and affection. What is the verse that proves this? In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna bhakti rasabhavitamati kriyatam yadikadopi labhyate tatra lolyam apimulyam ekalam janma koti shukrita na labhyate. Millions of lifetimes, janma koti, of sukriti, of attaining some kind of merit, doing good activities in this world. That includes our austerities. This cannot bring about the manifestation of Krishna Bhakti Rasa in our hearts. What is that Krishna Bhakti Rasa? The taste of loving service to Krishna. What is the root qualification for that? Tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam. Mul means root. The root qualification for Krishna Bhakti Rasa, bhav, is the intense, greedy desire to have it. And so if we understand that, then we should search, where can I acquire that from? Because if one can somehow get it, they must purchase it without delay or beg, borrow, steal, somehow get that. Where does it come from? Krishna Bhakti Janma Mool Hoy Sadhu Sangha. In the association of Krishna's pure devotees, the sadhus, that is the root cause of that greed, that lolyam, that divine, transcendental desire, awakening, not desire, necessity, greed, awakening in one's heart. And in that sadhu sangha, our goal can be established so much so that we can become obsessed with that goal and we cannot rest until we attain that goal. But austerity alone, this cannot bring it. There is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, which I cannot remember at the moment, but it specifically states that. I think it's in the Udhav section, that I cannot be attained by all of these processes. Even the Lord is saying that I don't reside in Vaikuntha or in the hearts of the yogis. And yogis are doing intense austerities. I reside where my devotees are remembering my names, form, qualities, and pastimes. That's where he wants to be, within the heart of his pure devotees. Tamara Hridaya Sada Govinda Vishram. He's always residing, resting within the hearts of his pure devotees. Even Govinda himself says, Mama Vaishnava Parar, my devotees, they are my life and soul. What kind of praying do we want to pray for? Manjari praying. Our Srila Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj has thousands of times, again and again, tried to, endeavored to help us to establish what our goal is. The goal of all of our sadhan, our bhajan, our everything. Radha Dasyam. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give by the medium of Rupa Goswami. Unata Ujvala Rasang Sva Bhakti Shriyam. This is the goal, the aspiration of all true Rupanugas. Service to Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan, but leaning, specifically leaning, Gurudev would say that when he would offer all of us at the time of Govardhan Anukut Mahamahotsava, when we do Govardhan Puja, he would say to Radha and Krishna, but leaning towards Srimati Radhika. That means if there's any mood of man, maybe jealous anger that's there, and Radha is feeling a certain way toward Krishna, then we would side with her. That's what it means to lean in that direction. Our goal and our aspiration must be fixed. And then whatever we do can actually have energy. If we don't have any particular goal or aspiration, if we have our feet in so many different boats, we will never be able to attain any destination. Krishna says